Marisol first noticed the note on a cold, rain-soaked evening at the bus stop, taped to a battered lamppost. The small, handwritten slip simply read, "You're not alone." At first, she dismissed it as an odd prank, until more began to appear. The following day, a note slid under her apartment door. "Every shadow has a story." Its scrawled ink seemed to pulse with urgency, as if trying to warn her. Over the next few days, messages began to appear in the most unexpected corners of her life. A page tucked between the worn covers of a library book, scribbled on a cafe napkin, even etched faintly on a fogged-up mirror in a public restroom. Each message was cryptic, haunting, and personal, hinting at secrets Marisol wasn't sure she possessed. At first, the messages felt like a strange game, a scavenger hunt orchestrated by an unseen puppeteer. But as the notes grew more pointed, "Remember the promise. Fear is the only lie." Marisol's initial amusement turned into a creeping anxiety. Who was this stranger? And why did the messages seem to echo her own hidden thoughts and regrets? Determined to uncover the mystery, Marisol began to trace the origins of the messages. She combed through every place they had appeared, questioning indifferent strangers, scanning through old photos of her life. In a dim, back-alley record store, she found a note wedged between vinyl covers that read, "The truth lies beneath the surface." There, behind rows of dusty records and forgotten memories, she encountered a man with tired eyes who said nothing but pointed to an old, crumpled photograph pinned on the wall. In the photograph, a younger version of herself smiled brightly beside a familiar face she couldn't quite place. A man whose eyes mirrored her own sorrow and resilience. The clues led her to a derelict building on the edge of the city, where whispered rumors spoke of secrets long buried beneath layers of neglect and regret. Inside, amidst the peeling wallpaper and echoing footsteps, Marisol discovered a small, hidden room. The walls were lined with dozens of handwritten notes, each a message left at a different moment in time. As she picked one up, her heart pounded when she recognized her own handwriting. Shocked, she realized that every note she'd found over the past week was in her own hand. Confused and trembling, Marisol retraced her steps mentally. Memories began to surface in disjointed fragments. Late nights scribbling thoughts on scraps of paper. A promise made in anguish to herself that she would confront the truths she'd long suppressed. The realization hit her like a tidal wave. She had been sending these messages, not to warn or guide an anonymous stranger, but to remind herself of who she once was and who she needed to become. They were lifelines cast into the darkness of her own forgotten past, an experimental means of self-therapy after a near-fatal accident had fractured her memory. In that moment, the mysterious man from the photograph reappeared at the doorway of the hidden room. His eyes were gentle yet filled with sorrowful understanding. "You were always trying to save yourself," he whispered. Marisol recognized him now. He was her reflection, her lost self before the accident. The messages had been her subconscious mind's desperate cry for help. A fragmented guide leading her back from the brink of despair. As dawn broke, the gritty reality of the city felt transformed. Marisol realized that life's unexpected twists aren't always orchestrated by external forces. Sometimes, the most profound journeys come from within. The mysterious stranger was nothing more than the parts of herself she'd long neglected. And in embracing those fragments, she learned that true healing begins with acknowledging every shadow, every mistake, every hope. and accepting that she is both the author and the subject of her own story. In the end, the messages were not a sinister game or a warning from a faceless enemy, but an invitation to rediscover the resilience and compassion buried deep within.